Oh man, it's about that time again. Woo! The sun is shining, so you know it's gonna be a good one today. All right, Instagram, let them know we're back at it. There we go. There we go. There we go. There she is. All right, everybody, it's about that time. It's about that time. Let's get Dalia in. Hello, 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 Connor. There she
Hello.
is.
Hey.
Yo,
Long
ladies
time no
and gents,
see.
we got the legend herself in the building.
Hello, hello. How have you been? I haven't seen you in so long.
It actually, yeah, it actually has been a long, long time. I've been great, honestly. The weather's been fantastic lately, so I've been enjoying that personally.
It was so nice out today. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because literally, I think in the beginning of May there was a bit of snow. Literally, like there was like flurries or something like that.
Yeah, I was
So
like, this
that
is ridiculous. Like, we need our spring. Like, everyone's been through a lot. Like, we just need some nice weather, but like, it's finally pulling through, so that's good.
it took its time getting here, that's for sure. Because I'm looking around and nothing was blooming. I'm like, oh my goodness, 2020. Yeah, you're not looking good so far, yo. Come on
I
now. At least,
know.
like, come on. Our summers are very short, so. You know, what I mean, the fact that it was starting late, I'm like, listen, that's just evil right there. I don't know how to feel about that. But
I know.
nonetheless, Dalia, how you been, girl? How you been?
Not bad, not bad. Yeah, I pretty much graduated university, so
Okay,
that's
okay.
fun. Yeah, I was living in the city for a bit for school.
Mm-hmm. Of
And yeah, everything's kind of started to get crazy with the pandemic, and I was like, I think I just want to go back home. Like, I should be with my family.
course.
So yeah, I'm back home with my family now, which is really awesome.
That's sweet. That's sweet. But yeah, congrats at least on doing that. Because I know just with everything that's going on, I'm really, really, really feel bad for a lot of the students that are still, trying to literally, some people are in their last year, some people just started, or
Yep.
haven't had the chance to really start. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I do feel for them. So at least good for you for doing that, and also staying close to family because that's something we've been talking about over the last couple of chats. Where being close to family, you just have a sense of comfort, and and you feel like you can get through these hard times a lot easier when you have
Oh
people like that
yeah,
around you. So
100%. Yeah.
so good on you for doing that. But
Yeah, thank
my
you.
my next thing I wanted to ask, how's the quarantine life been treating you?
It's been all right, honestly. Like, I'm sure everyone said the same thing, but it's just been really hard to sort of find motivation to like do things every day. Like, we can't really go anywhere right
Mm-hmm.
now. And I know a lot of rules are being lifted, which is good. People are like able to go out as long as they're able to be doing it safe.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, honestly, like just in my free time, pretty much watching a lot of Netflix,
Yeah.
as I'm sure everyone has been.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, I've been playing guitar a little bit as well. That's something that I like to do in my free time, and play piano. I've been trying to work out every day, but it's been really hard to.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, so you play. Hold on, I didn't know you played instruments.
Yeah, I mean, okay. I mean, like it's honestly a very beginner to like intermediate level. Like, I just do it for myself more so than anything. But
Fair,
yeah,
fair.
I just do it for fun. Like, I just like I hear a song that I like and I'm like, I wonder what it would sound like on guitar. Like, as long as you know the basic chords, I feel like you can pretty much play all the pop songs. So,
Wow, that's dope.
yeah.
So, ladies and gents, fans who are joining in, wow, people are loving your hair, by the way, Dahlia. They're not used to it being longer.
I'm like a
So,
different person now. It's weird.
but cool fact now that we know that Dahlia plays, even though to whatever level she's comfortable with, a lot of cast members are involved in music in some way, shape, or form.
Almost
Like
all of them. Yeah.
almost all of them, really, in some kind of way, which is crazy. That's pretty cool.
How's everything
Um,
been with you and your music? Like, have you been
whew.
keeping up with it? And
Oh, me, the thing is though, in the beginning of this pandemic, as we all know, like being cut off from our daily lives, like what we're used to doing, was a hard hit for me personally, because
mhm.
I like being on the go. I like working. You know what I mean? I just like being busy. Honestly,
Go
that's just
get
how I
her.
am. Yeah, 1000%. So
Yeah.
as soon as I was cut off from that, like dance classes or auditions, or whatever the case may be in my field, it got cut off very quickly, and I'm like, damn, I got to figure out what I'm gonna do here. And I got back into writing. I got back into
Awesome.
just writing little skits for myself to kind of just more so to keep my sanity, but
Yeah,
then afterwards, yeah, legit. But
I
then
feel that.
afterwards, it became, I'm like, okay, okay, this is feeling good. I actually started to get my creative flow going back again for some reason.
Oh, nice.
And well, I shouldn't say for some reason. I figured out later on how that happened. It was just because I didn't have my daily life distracting me from my work. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And then all of a sudden, it was a lot more authentic. I've been getting I've been writing songs like crazy, and now it's in like post production at this point, pretty much. And
No way, that's awesome.
yeah, me and my team, we call ourselves a collective. It's a group
Mm.
of five of us now, where we all handle like different parts of the project. So, for example, I'm the artist. My boy Andon handles the graphic design. Calix is the director. Trey, he's the photographer and videographer. You know what I mean? So it's like,
Yeah, 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 you got a little team going. That's
oh
cool.
yeah, you know what I mean? So we've been on House Party nonstop, just
House
coming up with
Party,
different
it's
things.
so funny because I remember that app was a thing like when I was like in
Hmm.
first year university and it made a comeback because of everything that's been going on and you can like play
Oh
games
yeah.
on it and stuff like that too.
Honestly, it's like I'm really a fan of it, to be honest.
It's
I
good.
tried.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I tried it out for the first time, like, yo, we gotta, okay, this is gonna be our go-to. And like every other day we're on it, just discussing what else we want to do and stuff. They're workaholics like I am, so they kind of get
Mhm.
it. Um, but yeah, I've been just trying to keep myself busy with music and, obviously because acting has slowed down with what's going on, it's
Yeah,
mainly been on the
imagine.
music end of things, you know what I mean? And credit to you for staying in shape because listen, for some reason,
I'm
man, this whole
trying. I'm
situation
trying.
has made me a couch potato like crazy. It's because there's nothing to do. So it's like your body's just starting to get it, like starting to slowly adapt to the idea of just like staying at home.
I know. And like I think it's so important too. Like I always
Mm,
struggled with like during school, I would be studying and like sitting down all day and like you're working your mind all day and then you kind of need like the balance. So like I would feel really restless and I'm like I just need to get up, I need to move, like whether it's like going for a walk or like doing 10
mhm.
push-ups, like anything. So I think it's good to have like a balance of the two. But like yeah, obviously I have days where I'm like I'm just gonna sit down, watch Netflix and that's it.
And speaking of Netflix, what have you been watching?
I watched the new series Hollywood. I got through that.
Okay.
Yeah, I enjoyed that show. I started watching The Leftovers, which is a bit of an older show. It's on HBO, but you can watch it on Crave. It's a little bit
Okay.
darker, but it's very well done. And I just finished the first season, and I think there's three.
Hmm.
So sometimes you have to take a break from it because I feel like right now I just want more like bubbly content. But
Fair.
it is very good, so I highly recommend that show.
Okay. All right. You heard that from Dalia right now, everybody. For me, I've been raving over Wild Wild Country. It's actually
Oh,
it's super good. It's pretty much based around I can't remember exactly. Basically, just an overview is a religion. You know what I mean? That they wanted to build up a whole community within America, from India to America, and
oh
there was
wow.
so much controversy that was happening. They literally started a community from the ground up. Literally took over, bought over land in the middle of the desert, and just build up. Like it's a very well done documentary that I like a lot.
Cool.
But aside from that, The Office classics, you know what I mean?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah, you
I
have
had
to.
to,
You have
I had
to.
to rewatch some of that. I'm like, man, I forgot. And then I'm just binging. I'm like, oh my goodness, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
But thankfully, you kind of touched on this before. Now that things are starting to slowly like reopen and you have more access to things, you know, I mean, I'm personally, I love sports.
Hmm.
So the fact that they're kind of doing that again, I'm like, okay, at least my healthy side slash exercising side of me can at least be motivated to do something outside of my house. Um, but yeah, at this point, honestly, that's you kind of have to adapt with the times and just
Totally. Yeah.
go day by day, week by week at this point because of how like serious it is, and we're very very lucky that we actually are able to leave our houses and do as much as we are able to do.
I
You
know.
know,
Yeah. So many
um,
people were like out today. Like thankfully I didn't see like, any big groups or anything like that, but it's like even if you're just going for a walk, like anything like that is just like super helpful.
1,000%, 1,000%. But also, what's your so aside from because we talked on Netflix, right? We talked
Yeah.
on which is essential. That's been on every live, by the way. I
Oh,
think.
yeah. Doesn't surprise me,
Yeah,
honestly.
pretty much. I ain't kidding. Like it's been a universal thing. But so we talked about your passion for playing music, instruments and stuff like that. Is there anything else you do as hobbies to kind of get through this quarantine?
This is like a bit embarrassing, but I'm not much of a reader, but I've been trying to get into more reading. So,
Listen, you and I
yeah.
both. I'm not a reader. I'm just
Thank
not.
you. Oh my God.
I
Okay.
envy people that can just take a book and just be satisfied. Me, I can't do
I
that.
know, and like get through it in like a day. I take so long to read. I think it's probably because like in high school there were never really any books that I really enjoyed, and it kind of felt like
Mm,
forced. Like it felt like I had to read. So I think now that I'm like, okay, I can, and even like with university, I'm like, okay, I have to read this. There's a certain amount of
true.
time I have to read it. So now I'm like, okay, I can just like do some research and like pick a book that I genuinely want to read and like take my time with it. So yeah.
Okay, good on you. For me to even look for a book that I like and then taking the time to read it is completely like those are some obstacles that I still haven't figured out to get over yet.
It's
So,
hard. The best thing is recommendations. Like honestly, like if any of your
mm,
friends are bookworms, just like ask them like, "Hey, what do you recommend?" and like probably start from there.
true. Well said. Okay, I'm gonna keep that in mind. All right, people, make sure you read your books. You heard it from the heard it from
The one
Dalia.
who
I
doesn't
can't
read
do it.
books.
I know, and I'm even worse. So I can't even be a I can't be a role model on that part. But um, after we after we stopped filming, were you did you go straight into school after, or were you still continuing on auditioning, or like what's up?
Yeah, so I was in grade 12 at the time, and it was like it was a whole crazy time for me because like I was graduating, like I had prom, like graduating high school, I had prom. I was doing recreational dance at the time, and I had like final shows, and I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna
Wow.
be there. So Degrassi was actually really accommodating with all of that stuff. Like we told them our schedule, like I was like, if I can make it, like I'll definitely like set was obviously a priority, but I was like,
Hmm.
okay, like it ended up working out, which was great.
Oh yeah.
But then, yeah, after that, I pretty much just went straight into university. So I went to Ryerson, and yeah, 4 years later, here we are. Like,
Is that crazy though? How long ago that was?
yeah, yeah, it's
Like,
crazy.
cause I'm thinking about, I was like, yeah, that was just like last year or whatever. I'm like, nah, man, that was
I know. It doesn't
that was
feel
a
like it
sweet
was that
minute.
long ago. It really doesn't.
No, and when people are bringing it up, even the fans are talking about it, and they say, yeah, they rewatched it, you know what I mean, and
Hmm.
they've been missing the show so much, and I'm like, man, that's some dedication. I didn't even know how. For me, it doesn't. To your point, it doesn't feel like that much time has gone by.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I'm like, whoa, that's trippy. Because some of the fans have to remind me, I'm like, wait, it's been years. Hold on a minute.
It's
Nah,
been
that
multiple
ain't right.
years? What? Sorry?
Multiple years?
Yeah,
Nah, can't be right. And I have
I
to look
know.
up me and my ignorant self. I have to look it up myself and be like, wow, okay,
The
yep,
date
you're
is
right.
there and everything. Yep, there's proof. Yep.
It's yeah. Oh yeah, I've seen people saying yeah they've been binge watching. Okay,
That's
I see
awesome.
y'all.
Yeah, like
Mhm.
it's great that it's like on Netflix and people can just watch it now when like, people have free time. So it's awesome that people are watching it. Thanks, guys.
Mhm. Oh, and you know what, Dahlia? Thing I forgot to mention this. And the fans,
Mm.
send out heart emojis if you agree with me with this one. All right. So this is something I've
Mm.
noticed. Your character, Rasha, a
Hmm.
lot of people have have been loving your character ever since you came on the show. Because obviously you're one of the newer characters, right? But it felt like as soon as you came on the board, came on the show, um, it just worked. You know what I mean? Like it didn't feel like you had to go through any trials or, you like I guess for the first couple times you were on set, you kind of needed to kind of be shown the ropes, I guess, just to get comfortable with everything and stuff. But then
Hmm.
after you got in the rhythm of things, honestly, it didn't really feel like you were new to anything. It was just something that you just jumped onto. And the cool thing about that, for me personally, it reflected through your work. And it's
Wow.
crazy. If you look down, you'll see all the fans sending you hearts because they appreciate your
Oh,
character and you
damn.
as a person. You know what I mean? So I just noticed that. I'm like, wow, that's she was able to just get the fans, appreciation and love so quickly, and that's something that I've noticed. And yeah, they're clearly showing the love. My
Oh
goodness,
my
those are a lot of
gosh.
heart
Thanks,
emojis.
guys. Wow.
You know what I mean? But yeah, I
Um,
just want to give you a shout out in that regard because, like,
Thank you.
and
Yeah.
let me ask you, because the funny thing is, I'm guilty. Okay, so when you came on the live, I fully expected the accent. I don't know if I'm alone. People, am I
Um,
alone? Let me know, because I
No, you're
honestly,
definitely not. Like I've seen comments like because I remember doing like behind the scenes stuff with like Krista and Adamo and like I was talking like the way I normally talk, and then the comments in it are like, "Wait, what? She's not Syrian? Like what?" And I was like, "Oh
Yeah.
wow, okay. I guess I did like a decent job then. Like okay, I'm happy with that."
Oh, 1000. And honestly, because we haven't spoken in such a long time, that's like, naturally that's where you go to. You know what I mean? When you think of
Right.
people, and obviously I was promoting you too, so all I was seeing more so was more so your character photos opposed to Dalia photos. You know what I mean? So I'm
Yeah, like
like,
the short
ah,
hair, like you're picturing the accent, like yeah.
everything to a T. So as soon as you spoke, I'm like, oh, hey, what's up? Hey, how you
Oh,
doing? You know
that's
what I
her.
mean?
Okay.
You know what I mean? But have you been recognized outside the show a lot, or has it been pretty tame, or what's up?
It was funny because like right when the show first started, like I had like my haircut still, or like I guess even like right after it ended, like I still pretty much had my haircut.
Hmm.
And I was going to school like in Toronto, so I was like, oh, like in the back of my head, I was like, I wonder if like anyone's ever gonna like notice me. Like a lot of people like in Canada, especially Toronto, like watch Degrassi, but it never happened at that point. But it happened more recently when I was on a road trip to Montreal and I was at an A&W and a girl was working at the A&W and she kept looking at me and she was like, "Oh my gosh, like you look really familiar." Like she's like, "Were you on a show or anything?" And I was like, "Yeah, like
Hmm.
I was on Degrassi." And my hair looked like this, which is funny because I was like, I didn't even like I don't look as much like Rasha as I would have like a couple years ago. So,
True.
yeah, it was funny, but it has happened, but not many times.
And I was gonna ask you because Degrassi is very widely known for being that next step for people in regards to their careers and almost whatever they do. To be honest, not even acting alone, because a lot of the stories that we do, thankfully, have affected the fans in such positive ways. Like we've helped them in their own personal lives, whatever they may be. You know what I mean? And the good thing is about Rasha and Saad. When I was talking to Parham,
Mhm.
I had a friend of mine that actually came from Syria,
No
and
way.
and your character, I don't know if you remember this scene exactly, but the reason why it's so fresh in my mind is because I was able to like connect it to what my friend was saying,
Hmm.
and he was saying like people think that everyone in Syria is just like one dimensional. You know what I mean? Like we go to beaches, we go out for shopping, we do all these kind of things.
That was a
Like
scene with Goldie. I remember the exact scene you're talking about. Yeah, because
absolutely,
yeah.
and then that one I'm like, whoa, because when I saw it, because I was watching with my family, because we make it a family thing when they want to see me on the
Aw.
screen and stuff. Yeah, it's one
My
of
family's
those.
like that too. They're like, "Come sit, we'll watch it together." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" Like,
Oh man, because we both know there were certain scenes that,
yeah,
So I'm
true.
like, oh boy,
You're
bathroom
like,
break, right?
"Ooh." Yep. You're like, "I'll be right back."
Literally. But the good thing about it is that it really showed that don't judge the book by its cover or what you see. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? There's not that much difference between you or I, kind of thing. And especially when Rasha was explaining that to Goldie's character, to Goldie at the time, I'm like, wow, they have a really great way of relating to people so deeply,
Hmm.
and because of that, obviously, I guess acting is more so on the back end of things for you. Is that safe to say?
Well, actually, my
Or are you
plan,
trying to?
like after
Mhm.
university, was to go full swing with it. Obviously, it's kind of hard to do that right now because everything's been shut down. So,
Fair.
no, it's not. But it was like a little bit like with school and everything because it was a bit hard to balance the two. But not right now. As long as things open up and go back to normal, it'll be at the front of the list right there. So yeah,
Okay, that's very, very good. So then, what I was gonna say works out then. Um,
perfect.
yeah, I know. Imagine I had to switch it up, but the good thing is with the show is that it really, really opens up so many avenues. Like it's a great, great foundation. You know what I mean? And again, when you're talking about Degrassi, it's hard to not mention Drake in this scenario, but
Yep, Nina
no,
Dobrev
no,
as well.
yeah,
Like
like
so
no
many
matter
people.
what, and the thing is, no matter what, no matter how big you are, they always reference back to that in some kind of way. Like you're always a part of it. It's always something that, pride-filled wise, you know what I mean? It's something that, just really helped you to get to a certain level. And then, if you build on it, great things happen. You know what I mean? I'm always thankful for Degrassi for what they've done, Stephen and Linda. And,
100%. Yeah, they built a
and
whole empire. Like it's crazy.
really, really did for so many Canadian actors. Like countless of them have passed through. I don't think I've met one person that hasn't auditioned for it at least.
Oh, yeah,
And
that's totally true. Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like it's such like, and again, I'm gonna go back to what I was saying in the last session. one of my favorite moments of being a part of Degrassi, or one of my most memorable moments, was the 500th episode, and
Mm,
that just really put things into perspective because Linda gave a huge speech and everything explaining, you know, you guys are a part of this family. You guys are a part of this, no matter what. And then I was just so excited and everything. And it's not that I didn't take it in, but I didn't take it fully in. You know what I mean? At the
yeah.
time.
It's
And then
hard too
afterwards,
sometimes when you're in the moment. You're like you try to like take it in as much as possible, but you're so like caught up with everything
oh,
going on around
1000%.
you. So yeah.
That's exactly what was happening to me. So then over the years, and I got the chance to reflect and look back, I'm like, wow, it really just helped me out as an actor, to build off on that momentum that they set for me, and you know
Hmm.
what I mean. So that's great that you're continuing acting. You should, because a lot of the fans agree with me when I say you are very talented. So keep it up.
Thank you. You
Um,
as well. You've done great. I loved like Tiny's character was great. I loved his arc as well. Like, cause I
oh, thank
remember
you.
like I watched the show before like I came on even.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
it was like a whole crazy experience
And,
to
and you
meet
know
all of
what?
you.
And you know what? You actually stood up well. How was your like first reaction when you met all of us? Was it like overwhelming, or was it like, what was it like?
It was definitely overwhelming. Like I remember the orientation day was like there was a table read.
Oh yeah.
I was very shy. Like I'm a very like
Mhm.
quiet person normally. But everyone was like so sweet and like I remember just people like even coming up and like introducing themselves. And yeah, like everyone was super welcoming. And like I know that you also have mentioned that like you as like going into like being a senior at like Degrassi you wanted
Mhm.
to make a conscious effort to welcome the new people. So I really
Absolutely.
appreciate that you did that and that like you guys did that for the new people. That was really sweet.
Oh, that's great. Because listen, I honestly, that's really the beauty of the show, and what Linda and Steven were really trying to make sure that people came in feeling welcome and feeling comfortable and honestly feeling at home. You know what I mean? And I got it.
Yeah.
I felt that when I came in. You know what I mean? So it made sense that they were like, you know what, not to me specifically, but to the graduating class or the senior class. They're saying, listen, we got new people coming in. Now it's your turn. Make sure that
Hmm.
they, feel comfortable so that we can keep the show going and, represent it in the best kind of way. You know what I mean? So I'm glad that that happened. You know what I mean? And that's what these, Insta Lives are for, to kind of show the fans on the inside what, we've been up to and what our true messages to people. You know what I mean? Not just on the screen,
Hmm.
but literally behind the scenes as well. So
Yeah, because
that's
there's so
great
much that
that.
you don't know about what goes on behind the scenes, and it was interesting to like yeah having watched the show and then coming in and being like this is how they do it. Like I was
Oh yes.
amazed. Yeah.
But also because I'm looking at the fans and they're passionate today because they were happy to see
Ooh.
you.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm gonna open up with some Degrassi questions right now.
Okay.
So just like I said, my memorable moment for
Hmm.
you, this is hard because this is like the entirety of your filming experience.
Right.
What was the most memorable moment for you? You can have more than one, but
This
what
is
comes to
funny,
mind?
and it relates specifically to you, and I don't know if you know this too, but
Hmm.
it was the last day of filming, and I
Hmm.
remember, it was the perfect last scene. Like Anna gave her speech. It was
Hmm.
an awesome way to just sort of wrap up like the season, and
Hmm.
everyone started to cry, and I was like, man, like I'm feeling like emotional, but I'm like, I haven't been here for long enough. I feel like if I cried, like that would be like a little bit much, but at the same time, I was like, I'm feeling it, like I'm feeling the emotions. This has been like a crazy experience. Like we've all been there for like almost every day of the week for the past like couple months and years for people. So yeah, everyone started to cry one by one, and then I just remember looking over at you, and then you started to cry, and I was like, okay, game over. If Richard's crying, I'm crying. So
Damn.
that was probably the most memorable moment. So yeah,
I'll pat myself on the back for that one.
yeah,
Honestly, as a joke, because you know how many people. Who was it? I don't know if you remember Josh, our first AD.
yep,
Yeah, because he's a tough, tough guy, right?
yeah,
So, and I've known him for like 4.5 years. So me and him go way back, and we were very close. I've seen him on other sets, and we always have a good times. But he was like, Richard, you almost got me. Like, there's people that came to me, was like, my bad, man. Listen, y'all gave the speech. You called my name for the last time. You know what I mean? Being rapped, so I didn't know what to do. I was emotional,
I
But
couldn't. Like, did other people came up to you and said that? I guess then that's funny. Yeah, I was like, man, like
mm,
I can't hold it back anymore. Everyone's crying. Like it's emotional. Like,
oh
yeah,
yeah. They
Yeah.
did a great, honestly, to your point, they did an excellent job in closing it out for everybody.
Yeah, I thought that
For
was really
that last
special.
scene of the last day, you like they really because it's not mind you, just for fans who don't know, it's not easy making a schedule to cater that. You know what I mean? It takes a lot
Hmm.
of time and effort to cater that because that scene was outside. Okay, they had to take the risk of it might have rained or something that would have been out of their control to switch things up. So that's time, that's money, effort, all that. They made sure to make sure that that was the last scene of the day for us, so that we
Hmm.
could have that moment together. That's what they did. So that's why that scene like it's cliche, but it always came up to me as one of the most memorable moments because it really just a lovely gift here, and they just put a nice bow on it and just handed it off. Like it was very very well done, and like that's why it always comes back to me. But that's actually a very nice memorable moment. I'm glad I
Yeah.
was pretty much a part of that
You
one.
were,
So
yes.
you know. But fans, please send out your questions that you have for Russia. I'm going to try to get to as many as I can.
Yeah.
I think I saw one. Oh, that's a good one from Ava Claire Hayes. What's the hardest scene to film? What was their hardest scene to film?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Hmm.
I feel like parts of the play were very hard to film because there were a lot of extras that day, so it was kind of like
Mm,
nerve-wracking. Because it was just like doing an actual play. Like we had it set up on a stage. It was in the gym. And there weren't many lines because I was playing Coma Boy, and Coma Boy obviously didn't have many
yeah.
lines. So
True.
yeah, so it wasn't nerve-wracking in that sense, but just in the fact that it reminded me of like high school drama. It was like doing it all over again, and it was just like all the people were there. It was the most nerve-wracking scene, I would say.
Got
Um,
you.
so probably that one. Yeah. But also really fun.
Nice. Oh, nice. Of course, of course.
What about for you?
Um, whew. Oh, okay, I got one for sure. And fans, let me know if you remember this one. So for me, one of the hardest ones because it's very difficult for me to cry on on camera because the pressure's
Me
on,
too.
and some people are able to. Sarah Ways is able to do that very well.
Hmm.
Anna's she can do that very well. Like there's certain people that can just turn it on. For me, it was very difficult, but the hardest one was when I had to hold up Zig with a knife and Maya because they
Mm.
called the cops on Vince. And that scene, I needed the whole day to get into like this dark kind of just mood to kind of make sure I can tap into it. Every
Hmm.
time they would call cut, I'd have to be by myself. Like, who was directing? Might have been Stefan. It might have been Stefan. So he made sure that I was off in my own like space to make sure I like stayed in such a dark like tone. You know what I mean? And if you remember me on set, I'm always like laughing, smiling, just
So
dancing or
happy,
something.
dancing. Dancing is like the number. Yeah, you're just always having a great time. So I
Always.
wasn't there for that, so I never got to see that process of yours. But it's
Ooh.
interesting. Like it's
Yeah,
hard.
it was very hard. I like challenges as an actor for sure,
Hmm.
but that day was super difficult. I had to really go deep to make that happen, but uh it really that was one of the toughest for sure by far,
Yeah. Yeah, it's
but
it's hard work, but then once you get there, it's like it's very rewarding. And then I'm sure once you saw it like on TV or like you were probably like, okay, this is good. Like I'm glad I like gave myself the time.
oh yes. I got this. This is a good one from Mark, and then I'm gonna go to one of my favorite fans out there. Oh, hey Jen.
Hey,
Um,
Jen.
if you were in Rasha's shoes, would you make the same decisions as her?
Ooh,
From your
wow.
memory, overall, from what you can remember.
Um, yeah, I mean, I would think so. Like there was no point where I was reading the script and I was like, "Oh, that doesn't make sense." Like I think
Mm,
all of her decisions were pretty she's a lot bolder of a person than I am, I would say.
fair.
Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, I feel like I probably would have done the same things as she did. Like
Mhm.
the whole scheme that she came up with Zoe, I thought that was like super cute.
Oh
That's
yeah.
probably something nerdy that I like would have done as well. Um, and like yeah, even again like with like auditioning for the school play, the one thing is like I probably like the confrontation with Miles, I was like, you go Rasha, like you go girl, you go
Hmm.
get that part. I don't know if I necessarily would have done it just because I'm more of a timid person, but like I like
Mhm.
commend her for doing that. So yeah, I think all of her
Okay.
decisions made sense.
That's dope. Okay.
Yeah,
That was a very great question, Mark. Shout out to you,
it
homie.
was really good. Yeah.
From Jen, what has been your favorite fan experience?
Ooh, well, I remember meeting Oh Hey Jen. We've met at a couple events before, so that was great. Love you, girl. I also remember seeing like a picture on Twitter of someone like I think it was like a stitching of like some sort of like picture of like Zoe and Rasha, and I thought that was really cool. Someone like took the time to like actually make that. So that was really sweet as well. So yeah.
Oh, that's dope. That's dope.
What about
Um,
you?
uh, let's see. Let's see. Okay, for me, because I'm thankful to say I had great experiences with fans in different events, and this one was actually at the Sony Center, and I had my phone, and there was a huge line. I can't remember who it was for. It might have been. I honestly can't remember. It's been so many years ago, but
Right.
I had my phone out, and I was like, "Is everyone having a good time?" And I was like, "Oh man, I'm nervous. No one's gonna respond." And I went down the line. I was just going like this with the thing. Everybody was cheering. Little kids were doing it. I'm like, oh my gosh,
Oh my gosh,
this
that's
is
great.
crazy. And the reason why I always bring up those kind of stories is because I forget. Because like when you are in a cycle of filming and you just go to work, you go to set early, and then you leave late, and you go back the next day doing the same repetition. You kind of forget what you're doing has an effect on people in a big way.
100%.
And I forget, honestly, when I meet fans and I see how passionate they are, and
Hmm.
sometimes just overwhelmed to see me, it's one of those things where I'm like, okay, whoa. I take a step back and I'm thinking like, wow, this really has a like an effect on people, like a big one. And that's why I always enjoy meeting fans because it reminds me of that, and it motivates me to continue what I'm doing. But yeah, at the Sony Center was just such a great atmosphere. So many passionate fans that were there to support us. Some people were coming from out of the country.
Wow.
um, they were telling me like they drove all the way there from the States and stuff. It was crazy cool.
Oh my
So
gosh.
for me, that would have been that. Um,
That's the
but
great
let's
thing about
see.
Degrassi too, is that there's so many dedicated fans from like literally everywhere. Like it's a well-known show, but then you have to remember it's like it's not just Canada. It's filmed in Canada, but so many people like New York, like everywhere. So
Oh
that's
yeah,
awesome that people came down for
oh yeah.
that.
We got an international presence here today. I remember seeing so many different flags. I can't remember all of them because there's so many of
Ooh,
them. But let's see. Matt James, I like this one. What do you guys think would have happened if there were like a season 5 and 6? So this more so, I guess it somewhat pertains to
ooh.
me. But what do you think for you though, Dalia? What do you think for Rasha? What was next for her, or what would you have
That's
liked to be next?
That's a good question. I would have loved to see more of her relationship with Zoe. I think, like, honestly, they were doing really well, and like, I think they only had one or two fights in the series in the two seasons. But other than that, I would have loved to, like, yeah, see their relationship flourish a little bit.
Hmm.
And also, I think Rasha would have still been like it was never really decided what grade Rasha was in. I think she would have still been in high school at the time, so she would have still been in Degrassi just because of like the
Hmm.
transferring of the credits and whatnot.
Hmm.
I don't know what grade she would have been in, but continuing her thing in school, probably, doing more with like musicals or like the school plays and whatnot. Um, and yeah, I feel like that's like pretty much it.
Cool, cool.
Yeah.
Well, in regards to Tiny now, because he went to Caltech.
Hmm.
But the thing is, though, he was still with Shay. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, you're definitely going to see him pop by here and there. But I honestly thought he was going to keep his job at the Dot or get a job at the Dot. I don't know if
Ooh.
he worked. I can't remember anymore. But I think he was going to work at the Dot just to keep up with his finances because university ain't cheap. You know what I mean? So I'm
You know
sure
what?
he
I
would
think
have.
I think Tiny was working at the Dot because I remember for like me and Zoe come in and I asked you if we could like hide behind the counter. So you were.
I remember that. Yes, you're
Yeah.
right. Okay, I did work at the Dot. Okay, okay. I was just okay. That was cleared up. So I think I would have kept my job for sure, just to keep up
Mhm.
with all the university bills that would be coming and draining my
Yep.
wallet for sure. Um, and then Honestly, here's the thing. I think there would have been some very interesting stuff between Tiny and Shay. Maybe they may have
For
gotten
sure.
to arguments. Maybe there may have been like problems going on, but maybe they might have sorted it out. Like I think there would have been a cool dynamic with that there.
Yeah.
I've always been interested to see where that would have gone, as well as the fans, I'm sure. But yeah, for me, I think that would have been pretty cool to experience. Honestly, I think
Yeah, it would have
there
really
was
tested their relationship, I think.
definitely like maybe something around um, distancing. No pun intended with what's going on, but I mean like
Right?
someone being your partners being in university while you're still in Degrassi. You know what I mean? Like that whole dynamic.
Yeah. And that's a
I
very
think that'd be cool.
common issue for people too. Like even if you're
Hmm.
like a year apart, it's like that whole difference between like being in high school versus being in your first year of university. Like those are two
Hmm.
completely different things. And I'm sure that's like a lot of people could relate to that situation for sure.
For sure.
That would have
And
been really
speaking
cool.
of And speaking of relating, I like this question a lot. So, personal web page, how did it feel to represent a nationality as well as a queer individual? So because you definitely, and that's why I said like so many people looked at Rasha and was just so influenced by them. Again, aside from your amazing performances as the character, but you truly represented like a demographic that is a real thing. You know what I'm saying? So, how did you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, like, and I'm sure you totally feel this too, but just like as an actor in general, you just want to do the part you're given justice. Like, you just want to do it to the best of your ability and you want to represent it as accurately as possible. So,
Hmm.
in terms of playing like a Syrian refugee, like I knew about the Syrian refugee crisis, but I felt like I there was still a little bit more I needed to know. Like I needed to do a little bit more research. So I did.
Got you.
And it was really interesting to be playing that at that specific time because like that's right when we had Syrian refugees come into Canada. So what we were seeing on
Hmm.
TV on Degrassi was also happening currently in Canada. It was a very specific situation. So yeah, and I think, and even with the LGBTQ community, like it's at the end of the day, it's like if you've helped someone in any sort of way, like that's when you've done your job. So I think
Absolutely.
if anyone can relate to any of the situations that Rasha went through, like I think that's the most important thing for me as an actor.
Okay, that's
But
that's great. Yeah, that was a fantastic question because
yeah.
I wanted to touch on that because when it comes to playing those kind of roles, you definitely have to do your research on them so that you're portraying it accurately. One, but then two, when you do a good job at it and it touches something that's personal to someone, it really helps them. Like I can never say enough about how much certain characters on the show, including yours and mine as well, that we've been able
Mm,
to help people genuinely. Because as you said, um, uh, you know, people were coming in from Canada from Syria. Like it was literally happening when the episode was airing. So I'm like that. Like imagine people coming here, watching Degrassi and seeing that, and seeing someone overcoming their challenges. That must have been really comforting for people. Like that must have been really,
yeah.
um, encouraging for them to come into a new country. It's extremely intimidating. It's very tough. It's a culture shock, all those kind of things. But seeing a character like yours being able to not only overcome but excel show that it's something that they can do and something that they can definitely accomplish. So that was actually a great question and good on you for doing your research on that. It's very important.
Yeah. And like I was even gonna say, like even like there's a scene between like Rasha and Zoe where like they're at the wedding and Rasha feels like she hasn't been really welcomed. And I think that was like a big part of it too, is just being
Hmm.
welcome into Canada and feeling welcomed by other people. So yeah, hopefully that helped.
Of course. And let's see here. Cindy Usab, which Degrassi character do you relate to?
Ooh, oh man, which Degrassi character? Is it bad to say Rasha?
No, no, it isn't.
Because I'm like not like yeah, I guess like just in the sense of like when I read that she was like bubbly and that she, like again like the music like or the high school play, I'm like I took drama in high school and I was reading this and I was like okay yeah like I can kind of relate to that like I these are things that I enjoy doing. And I think she also was supposed to be an athlete. I think that was written in the breakdown, or like was supposed to do
Hmm.
like some sort of track, which I don't do, but it just with the route that they ended up going with it, I thought that like yeah, those were some things that I could relate to. Um, I would have to like think about that a bit more. Like I feel like there's definitely one, but like I can't like pinpoint it. But what about you?
Oh, let's see. Hold on a second. Remind me what the question was. I was actually trying to read to see who else's questions
That's
are there.
okay. So
Yeah.
it's I think it was like what character do you relate to the most?
Ah, yes, 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 yes. Okay, okay. Let's see.
It's a hard question. That's a good one.
That's actually pretty tough. I'm gonna challenge myself and not say Tiny because I don't want to copy you now. I want to try to do something. Um, let's see, let's see. I would. Hmm. Wow, that is really tough.
Mm-hmm. Right?
That's really tough. It, darn, now that I think about it, it's hard not to say Tiny right now.
Yeah.
It really and okay, and here's why, ladies and gents, because Tiny is very one of his best features for me was his loyalty to his friends, and that's something that I pride myself on, loyalty. You know what I mean? So from people who remember me back in the rubber room days up to like graduation, you notice it was the same friends, it was the same group. Even
Mm.
though me and Zig had our hard times and we fought, we argued, we've done everything, you know what I mean? But we still stayed brothers at the end of the day. You know what I mean? And that's something that really, really translated to me, and that's why it felt so authentic to perform. Um, because, you know, that just really speaks to who I am as a person. Loyalty, you know what I mean? And you know, you do good by me, I do good by you kind of thing. So that's something that I really try to keep and pride myself on, you know? So yeah, I would say Tiny.
Yeah, good
Typical, but
answer.
I couldn't resist, you know
At
what
the
I
end of the
mean?
day, you're bringing yourself into the character you're playing, so technically you kind of have to relate to it. So that's true.
For sure. And, oh, Dalia, I think you're gonna like this question. It's actually a very good one.
Ooh.
Degrassi 67. I like that one. How they spelled it was funny. If you could have had a scene with any character in Degrassi history, who would you choose? I like that one.
I like that one too. And that's a quick answer. I would love to have done a scene with Eli because
Yeah.
he was my favorite character like from the show hands down. And
Team
I
Eli up
like
in the
I loved
building.
Eli and Claire. Like that was if like favorite relationship. I'll already answer that for you guys. It was Eli and Claire.
hmm
But yeah, I feel like that would have been really fun.
Oh yeah. Um. For me. Um. Let's see. Well, actually, this would have been cool because me and him are actually pretty cool off the set. Right? I actually consider him a good friend of mine now. Delmar, an OG. I forgot what his actual name is on the show. People help me out with that. I can't remember. But yeah, ironically, I met him so many times off the set. Like he's more of an OG than I am for
Oh,
sure. He's been on the show earlier in the Next Gen, but he would have been cool to act with. You know what I mean? And I thought because he's just like a cool person in general. I thought that would have been a cool guy to kind of work with because he's so professional, super talented. You know,
it's always
I
fun to
thought
act with
like,
your friends too. Like so
oh yeah,
fun. Yeah.
oh yeah, it. Trust me, you, the amount of pranks and the amount of like gags you could have done, like man. But yeah, but the Delmar is a cool guy. I really respect him a lot. Um, you know, and honestly, sorry, I'm guilty, but if I was able to act with Drake, just to say that I did, that would have been cool. Just literally to say, hey, I could have had a scene where I'm just walking by him, and I've been like,
I totally agree. Like I could have been like a background in like his like scene, would have still been okay with it. That would have been
I would have been
sick.
you and I both. I would have been totally fine. Just to say, just to say I did. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, that would have been cool. I'm biased. Um, oh, this is actually a good question from SBC Poetry. Nice to see you coming back.
Hello.
Did you two? So me and you, Dahlia, did you get to interact much on set since we didn't have that much scenes together? I'd say yes for sure.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. Like we had a lot of downtime on set and like I remember just talking to you even like in the green room like a whole bunch. So
Mhm.
yeah, yeah, I'd say so. And we went to a couple, I think we went to a couple events together as well. And yeah, because like the scene that's sticking out in my mind the most is like the one in the dot. So
Mm.
we definitely had that scene together, but yeah, yeah, we had some time to hang out.
Definitely. And everyone, I think you remember me saying this. I was talking to Nikki about our time on set in the green room. So our green room has a food table, wow, has a pool ball table that
Yeah.
is pretty much non-operational. Like, I mean, it's just listen, that pool table is probably older than us. It's been through
Yeah.
so much, I'm sure. You know what I mean? So all the balls are gone. The cue sticks are pretty much destroyed. So we literally use it as like an extra couch where you're just sitting on it, just talking and stuff. And
Yep.
we have our computer there, and we just throw on whatever on YouTube and chill. So we always have the time to talk and everything. And yeah, it was always good times. Honestly, it was just super chill, super relaxed.
Yeah, and
You know what
thankfully
I
there
mean?
were a lot of scenes where like there were a lot of cast members. Like we had the prom, even the play, like there were a lot of people. Then the graduation, everyone was pretty much there. Like, and then the final scene, like, so we did get a chance because like everyone was there in like a lot of scenes. So it was nice to have
Mm,
that time.
dope. And oh, his name was Danny. Danny. I knew that. I knew that. That's on
Danny,
me. Sorry, y'all. I forgot about that. But
it's been a
let's
while.
see. Let's see here. Let's see. Getting close to a couple of our last questions here. Which episode took the longest to film? Do you
Hmm.
remember? Like, which one was like the longest one? I already know for sure.
You know? Oh my gosh, I don't think I
Absolutely.
remember. What would you
I
say it was?
to give you time, I remembered this one because it technically wasn't that long, but it felt excruciatingly long. So I mentioned this when I was talking to Parham, I believe. But this was when me and Ricardo, aka Zig, had to play basketball outside, okay?
Okay.
And it was the hottest day of the summer. Of course, of course.
Yep.
And honestly, every minute felt like an hour to me. I'm thinking, okay, we're done, right? No, we need to get this angle, maybe bird's eye view or something. I'm like, oh my gosh. And to the point, me and Ricardo were getting like so delirious from the heat that it looked like we were high. I'm not even playing. Like we looked like we were just completely just we were laughing about nothing. Like at times, it
Oh my
was
gosh.
honestly hilarious. And the thing is, though, because me and Ricardo, we just bounce off each other so well when it comes to our personalities,
Hmm.
and also we both love sports. So technically, when we were supposed to have downtime, we we started to not be affected by the heat anymore. So we just kept playing.
Yeah, I guess once you get to a certain point, you're like, well, this is how it's going to be for the next couple hours. So,
Yeah, so we're like, all right, you know what? Let's make this comfortable. And we were getting yelled at so much because they didn't want us to overheat and get, you know what I mean? Like, so we're like, yeah, we're not feeling nothing, but our bodies are probably like, listen, you need to relax,
yep.
get
You
some
probably had
water,
to
stay
like
in the shade.
hydrate. Yeah, like fan out in between, like as much as you
Oh,
could.
oh man, I'm telling you, that one felt excruciatingly long. The sun was relentless. Like we were
Oh
sweating
man.
buckets. We had like Robin. For people who do not know, Robin was helping us out with our with wardrobe. He had like 3 to 5 t-shirts on call. So as soon as we were sweating it out too much, we got to switch them out
Oh my gosh.
within
Wow.
every like 20 minutes. Like it was
Because it
something
had to look
crazy.
fresh, right? It had to look
It's
like, yeah.
yeah, it couldn't have looked like we were out there for so long, and like it wouldn't have worked continuity wise. So they had to change it up every time. Like, oh man, Robin, I'm so sorry, bro, but we're like, what do you want from us? Like
Just
it's
giving him like your sweaty like t-shirts, like, here you go, I'm
oh,
so sorry.
and I love Robin so much, and I felt bad about
I
that.
know, he's
But
the sweetest.
nonetheless, that was my answer. What about you, if you can remember?
Now that I'm thinking about it, honestly, I feel like the prom episode did take a while. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was raining that day, and we had to move certain, like, it wasn't any of my scenes, but I think we had to move like some sort of scene to like a different place or like make sure it was like covered or something like
Hmm.
that, or completely cut it out. Like, my memory is not great with it, but I know like some changes had to be made. Because I think we had a little bit of rain, so we had to just like, I think we had like half an hour, like not even half an hour, maybe a little bit of time of downtime, but it felt like, as you said, like 30 minutes
Yeah,
can feel like 3 hours. Like, so yeah, I think there were like a couple things that went wrong that day. So we were like, okay, we're just trying to get through it. Like, it was late at night too, so like we felt like super whacked up as well. And it was like 1 a.m. and everyone was so tired. Like,
you know what? That reminds me of a prom
yeah.
where we had to stay later on. So everyone, we had our schedules pushed up like a couple hours. So we would show up on set like let's say 1 p.m. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was like
Yeah.
literally from 1 p.m. to like 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. in the morning. It was a crazy, crazy time. Do you remember that, Dalia? Like,
Yeah, I
cause we
do. I do. It was a very long day. I remember we got pizza at the end of it though. That was great. I was like, I'm gonna go get that pizza.
that's true. That's true. No,
Yeah.
nothing stops me definitely if my stomach is empty if I'm hungry.
100%.
I'm going for it. But that was tough. I remember that. The prom was a lot of fun. I saw some fans talking about the prom between you and Zoe, shipping Zasha. You know, they were huge fans about that. So let me
I was a
ask
huge
you
fan.
just.
They were cute.
Oh yeah, for sure. But let me ask you to close things out a little bit. What was your favorite Zasha moment?
Ooh, my favorite Sasha moment. It was kind of like a smaller scene. It was kind of short, but I really liked how there was kind of like the makeup scene. It was like right after Rasha's done the play, and then Zoe comes in with like a bouquet of roses, and she's sort of like apologizing, and like I thought that was a really sweet small moment. And then I also really liked their time at Miss Revis's wedding. Like they, you
Mhm.
know, Zoe was wearing her suit. She looked great. She was happy to have Rasha there. They got into a little bit of a tiff afterwards, but like the part before that was super cute. And they just got to like dance and just like it was kind of like a magical moment for them. Like it was really cute.
Oh, that's sweet.
I like
Okay.
that.
You heard it from Dalia, y'all. So normally, Dalia, when I close out every live session, I ask you, for everyone who's been tuning in or people who are going to tune into the video when I save it, what what's the best advice you can give to people right now during this pandemic? You know what I mean? Being at home, maybe not being able to see friends or family. What's the best advice you can give to the fans out here watching?
Just I guess in general, like I know like some people really love to be productive. Like you even said yourself, you're like, I would need to get up and I always need to be productive. But I think it's also like it's also good to remember that like it's okay to do nothing sometimes. And like now
Mhm.
it's like the whole world is shut down, like no one's doing anything. So if you have a day where you're like, I just want to like sit on the couch and like watch Netflix and just chill, like do it because like we don't know when something like this is going to happen again.
True.
And where we'll have time to just like hang out and just chill and even doing things that you have been wanting to do that you haven't necessarily gotten the chance to do, like cleaning out your closet or cleaning out your room, like small stuff like that. And then in terms of like friends and family, just keep FaceTiming, checking in on people, giving them calls, even texts, just being like, "Hey, how are you doing?"
Mhm.
And yeah, that's pretty much my advice.
Nice. You heard that from Dalia, everyone. Well, first of all, Dalia, thank you so much for joining on this.
Thank you.
As you know, this is for the fans, you know what I mean? And yo, Shaq, what's up, homie? Fellow actor killing it in Van City. So
Yay.
I have to shout out Shaq. Um, but yeah, thank you so much for joining us today. As you can see, the fans are so happy and so thrilled to see you, as am I, because it's been so long, you
I
know?
know. This was a nice
Um,
little catch up.
Absolutely. You know what I mean? So thank you so much. Obviously, we'll be in touch.
For sure.
All the best. Hopefully, when things start to get back into closer to normality, auditions will start flooding in. We'll start to hopefully keep these fans following us because, right now they don't have the luxury of a season 5 or 6, so they want to see what else we do. You know what I mean? And the best we can do is just do our best with what we got. You know what I mean? So
For
thank you so
sure.
much.
Thank you. Thank
Appreciate
you so
you.
much for doing this. These are great. I think these are awesome. So, yeah, thanks for inviting me.
Of course, of course. All the best.
You too. Nice talking to you, Richard. Bye.
All right, y'all. I hope you enjoyed that live session. The last one, like from this one currently, and the last one was a bit of a gap there. But trying my best to get some of the cast members up here and just sharing their stories with you guys. And I hope you guys have been enjoying it. Let me know if you guys have been enjoying these live sessions. Um, it's been a fun experience so far, and like I said, we're going to try to keep this going, try to make this quarantine, this whole pandemic feel a lot shorter and a lot easier to deal with than it really is. And if this is an escape for you, I hope you guys have been enjoying this. I hope you guys have been going through so much nostalgia, going back on your favorite scenes and seeing your favorite characters and actors up here, and also, okay, y'all ready for this? I'm gonna give you a little bit of a hint right now on who's gonna be next. Okay? The dates and all that stuff will be coming to you soon, but I'm gonna give you guys an idea of who it is. Okay? If y'all are ready, can I see some exclamation marks, flame emojis, heart emojis, whatever you got? Because I'm about to not announce, but kind of give you a little bit of a hint of who's gonna be next. Okay? I think y'all are gonna like this one. You're gonna appreciate this one. Okay? Let me see them first. Let me see them before I say what I gotta say. Okay, we're getting some exclamation marks. Okay, fire emojis. The people are excited. Okay, you ready for this? Share the word. So like I said, just now, we had the lovely Dalia, aka Rasha, who was her partner in crime. Oh snap, who was her partner in crime? That's all I'm going to say. Thank you everybody so much for joining in. More news is going to come out soon. I'm not going to say her name, but I hope you guys make sure you tune into the next one, all right? Love all of y'all. Peace out, and we'll talk soon, okay?